Alright guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, and I cannot wait for this card. I know it's a month away, but they've done the press conference already. I don't really know what PFL is up to, but they're really trying to hype up this card, and for good reason. It is very, very stacked. And I will be showing you guys this fight. These are just a preview, but before we get into the fights, man, I really want to announce something new to the channel. I've actually got a public Fanatics page, so I will be advertising my public Fanatics page, and you will see in a little advertisement which I do later on in the video, which I prepared earlier. I will be showing you guys my page, and I will be showing you guys the perks that you can get, including monthly chances to win money based on your picks. So if your picks are good enough, you will be in to win money by joining my group. So pretty long intro, 1 minute long. Let's get into the first fight. Don Madge versus Nathan Williams. This is going to be pretty good, man. Don Madge, actually a former UFC fighter, but he has not fought in 2 years. In fact, the last fight that he actually had was against Fares Ziam, who is still in the UFC today, to my understanding anyway. And before that, he had a couple of wins over Tay Edwards, who was the final guy that Dennis Bermudez fought before he retired. And before that, he was fighting, just at EFC, a bit more regional competitions as you do. And we've got, on the other hand, Nathan Williams also fighting for PFL for the first time. He's been a very active guy. He's fought at least 5 times in the last year or so, and his only one loss has come to a 4-2 guy over at Bellator Fights, which was 3 months ago. But he bounced back within a month and beat an 8-2 guy. So now we signed to the PFL. I'm sure if one of these guys wins impressively, they will be in the little tournament that PFL sets up in the lightweight division, which is the finals, man. It's the finals of the PFL. I can't wait. So this is just a prelim here. Height advantage for Don Madge, and reach advantage for Nathan Nasty Williams. Don Madge by KO is a pretty popular pick. We've got 80 votes so far. I mean, we're a month out from the event, guys. I wouldn't expect too many crazy amounts of votes, but yeah, man, I'm pretty interested to see how Don Madge comes back. I mean, he was on a decision win over Fares Ziam. He knocked out Tay Edwards, and before that, he was on a bit of a finishing streak as well. So I think it's pretty fair to side with Don Madge, but he's on a 2-year layoff, so we'll see what's happening here. Okay, so Kaitlin Young versus Julia Budd. Kaitlin Young, I guess, a little bit of a veteran of the PFL at this point. She has fought at least a couple of times for the PFL, and before that she was fighting for Invicta. Julia Budd, on the other hand, 38 years old, but she is a veteran of Invicta and of Bellator. She actually never fought in the UFC. She had a fight against Chris Cyborg only last year, and unfortunately that fight did not go in her way. She lost in the 4th round, but before that, man, she was on a pretty good win streak. Her last loss coming to Ronda Rousey in round 1 over in Strikeforce, and before that, Amanda Nunes. So the 3 girls that Julia Budd has ever lost to are really, really good high level of competition. Of course, Ronda Rousey way back in the day, very unstoppable, and now she's still fighting. She's 38 years old. I think with an impressive performance, she will be looking to try and get into that $1 million prize pool of the women's featherweight tournament against Kaitlin Young, who is coming off a split decision loss to Mariana Moraes, who I think actually ended up fighting in the semi-finals against Taylor Guardado on late notice in the last rounds. But I've got Julia Budd on this one. I think that she can win, and I think that if she wins impressively, if she signs to the PFL for another year, I can definitely see her being part of that group that goes in the tournament, the playoffs. That's the word I was looking for. Only 16 picks because this fight was announced very recently. I want to say like within the last 48 hours anyway of me recording this. And now a very interesting fight, man. We've got Jordan Young versus Omari Akhmedov. And when I first saw this fight, I was a little bit interested. So, like, it's very interesting that Omari Akhmedov has come to the PFL. He only fought Brad Tavares a couple of months ago, and before that, he was borderline. Sorry, guys, my dogs. I've got 2 dogs and they're jumping up on me at the moment. He was borderline on the top 15 of the UFC. So Very interesting now, and I think Brad Tavares, if he's not ranked, he's fighting a ranked fighter in his next fight. So, yeah, very interesting that Omari Akhmedov has come to PFL once again with an impressive win. He will be looking to get into the PFL playoffs. And on the other hand, we've got Jordan Young. He was 11-0 at one point in his career. He's only 26 years old, but he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Tom Lawler by unanimous decision, which isn't really the best loss considering Tom Lawler is 10-8 at the time. Before that, he lost to a pretty good guy over at Bellator, but before that, he was beating good guys at Bellator. 3-0. I mean, I guess if you're 10-0, it's not really the best win, but 35-22, not really a bad win when you're 9-0 fighting an experienced guy like that. And then Jamal Pogway, who was 4-1 at the time. Oh dear, I think my dog wants to come and say hi. She's a French bulldog. And most people going with Omari Akhmedov. I think that's pretty fair as well. I would pick Omari Akhmedov to win that fight as well. Alright, go on. And now we've got Loik Radzhabov here. And this is for one of the finals. It is. Okay, so sorry, I can't believe I didn't realize that. 4 fights in, and we've already got a 25-minute fight. Raush Manfio, who won a pretty controversial decision to Clay Collard. I really don't know how he was gifted that decision, like, at all. And now he's fighting Loik Radzhabov, who's coming off a decision win of his own, and I actually picked Loik Radzhabov to win that fight. And yeah, man, I think that this fight will probably go the distance. I mean, maybe to start off the fact that we've got like 5 25-minute fights on this card, maybe we don't want the first fight to go the distance, but I think Loik Radzhabov will probably win a decision here, unless Raush Manfio can find a submission, but Radzhabov by decision is my very early pick in this one here. Obviously need to do a bit more research on this card, especially, but these are just my early previews, man. I'm so excited for the card, I thought I've just got to mention it. And now moving on, Antônio Carlos Jr. versus Marthin Hamlet. Antônio Carlos Jr. obviously got that insane Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, and he actually fought and had mixed success in the UFC. He went on a little bit of a losing streak, but prior to that, he was actually on a winning streak of his own. So he was signed to the UFC after winning Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 3, and then lost, unfortunately, to Patrick Cummins. But after that, man, he traded a couple of wins and losses early on, and then went on a massive win streak. Lost to Ian Heinisch, lost a split decision to Uriah Hall, lost to Brad Tavares, and then I think the UFC cut him and he's gone to the PFL, and he has found a pretty decent amount of success there. I actually picked Emiliano Sordi to beat Antônio Carlos Jr. So good for him winning that fight. He proved me wrong. He beat Tom Lawler, who was same guy that beat the fella earlier. I forgot his name already. No contest to Vinny, and then he won a decision over Emiliano Sordi to solidify himself in the finals. Marthin Hamlet, on the other hand, coming off that KO TKO win. This is the same fight. I think it ended only very early on in the fight. Yes, it was 13 seconds in. His opponent, Cesar Ferreira, got injured very, very early on, and he pretty much got a free win and a free road into the finals, which I guess is fair enough. But I've got Antônio Carlos Jr. I think people call him Shoeface, and that is an awesome nickname. I actually don't know if it means anything, but I'm pretty sure the commentators call him Shoeface. Antônio Carlos Jr. by submission. Common pick on the Tapology votes. Probably pretty likely, but he did stand on the feet with Emiliano Sordi for a pretty significant amount of time in his last fight, so we'll see how that goes, eh? And Bruno Cappelozza, Ante, Delija. Two guys, I think Ante's coming off that decision win, but Bruno Cappelozza, I think he's coming off a second round knockout win, but he could have really finished it in the first if he wanted to. He is. Second round knockout win, but before that, dude, he was on a 2-fight winning streak within the first round, and one of those wins, man, was in the first round to Ante Delija, and he actually lost to Jiri Prochazka, who's quite highly ranked up in the UFC at the moment. So yeah, man, this guy is known for finishing fights. 7-second round 1 KO on his record there against a 3-2 guy, but still, man, this guy finishes his fights. I think the majority of his wins are by KO. I just lied to you guys. 13 wins are by KO. Every single win of this guy is KO, and I think he's going to get another one against Ante Delija. He's knocked him out before. I think he's going to knock him out again, and it's worth noting that knockout was 4 months ago, and Ante Delija has fought twice since getting knocked out. So and 2 months after he got knocked out, he fought Chandler Cole. So I mean, I'm no health expert, man, but I feel like after you get knocked out cold, probably not the best idea just to take another fight. But man, I mean, it's PFL. That's how I do it. You've got to fight often. You've got to fight all the time. Bruno, Henrique, Cappelozza, not the best record in the world, but I'm telling you guys, this guy is powerful, and if the fight's on the feet, he's gonna finish the fight. He's got 13 wins by KO, all 13 by KO, and I think that he's going to get his 14th win and his 14th knockout, and I think he gets $1 million for this, doesn't he? 94% by KO for Cappelozza, majority picking. I think that's pretty fair. It's a rematch. Cappelozza knocked him out in the first rounds in the last one. I think he's going to do it again. Now, speaking of picks, let's get to Fanatics MMA. In Fanatics MMA, you can actually make picks for the PFL, and I'm just going to show you this little video that I prepared a little bit earlier. It's just a little bit of an advertisement. It's about a 1 minute long, and yeah, here's one that I prepared earlier. Alright, gonna make this as fast as I possibly can. I just want to give a shout out to Fanatics Fantasy MMA. They're an app on iOS and Android. And man, you join my group. I've got a public group on there, and what you do is you pretty much make your picks and predictions. So maybe you're really confident in Jan Blachowicz by KO, maybe like Piotr Jan decision, just something like that. You can join my group, and if your picks are the most correct and you become part of my leaderboards once you join the group, you will be in to win some money. I will be giving out $20 to first place of the month, $10 to second place of the month, and $5 to third place of the month. So if you're really good and you're able to get first or second every single month, you're pretty much getting your UFC Fight Pass paid for you. So yeah, definitely worth joining. You can be in to win some prizes as well, and really trying to build up a little community inside this MMA league, and you will be competing against other people in the league and comparing your picks with others as well. So if you're really confident in your fight picks, but you've got nothing to really compare it with, join my MMA league now, and you can also be in to win some prizes with those picks. Alright guys, just once again, please join my Fanatics group. I would really appreciate it. I am trying to build a bit of a following on that Fanatics app. They've made me a public group. I'm shouting them out as well, so we're working together, I guess, is how you could describe it. And speaking of working together to get the job done, we've got Chris Wade versus Movlid Khaybulaev. Movlid still undefeated, 18-0. With a win here, man, maybe he's gonna sign for a bigger company, or maybe he stays with PFL and just wins that $1 million a year. I mean, dude, that's a lot of money. $1 million, that's life changing. So Movlid Khaybulaev, obviously on a bit of a winning streak. He had that draw, or maybe it was a no contest. I probably should have looked into that. But anyway, we've got Brendan Loughnane win split decision, a unanimous decision over Lance Palmer, split as unanimous decision over Lazar Stojvanik, and a submission over Zaka Futuladze. Chris Wade coming over a unanimous decision win over Bubba Jenkins, where I thought that Bubba Jenkins was gonna win. I was wrong. And coming over a KO win over Oman Ospinov, and a decision over Anthony Desai. And before he lost to Loik Radzhabov, who I believe Movlid has not fought. So, interesting fight. Movlid is he's fighting at 145, but he is 5'6". Chris Wade is 5'10", and both guys have the same reach. So obviously Movlid is going to be a little bit shorter than Chris Wade when it comes to getting into the cage. But you know these guys from Russia, man. He's not a Dagestani. He's from Moscow. You know these Russian wrestlers, dude. He's going to grind it out. He's probably going to win a decision here. Maybe Wade. Wade showed some really good groundwork in his last fight against Bubba Jenkins. Maybe Wade can do something to stop it, but I do have the undefeated fighter, Movlid Khaybulaev, to win this fight. Maybe in a 25-minute decision, but it is a 25-minute fight, so things could turn around. And man, in between these multi, I think they're millions of dollars. Everyone gets 1 million, 6 million on the line. We've got six fights. Okay. Anyway, Claressa Shields versus Abigail Montes. Interestingly, because Claressa Shields is such a massive name, they've put Claressa Shields above some of these other championship fights as the featured bout of the night, and she is fighting an undefeated Abigail Montes. So, as you guys know, Claressa Shields, multiple time boxing world champion, 11-0 as a professional. I think she's like 70-1 or 60-1 as an amateur. Abigail Montes, on the other hand, 2-0 in her MMA career. She's only 21 years old, so perhaps if she gets a win over Claressa Shields here, she would be a massive prospect. So Abigail Montes, she's 2-0, she's fought 2 debuting girls. Claressa Shields, on the other hand, she did not really fight the best opponent in her last fight. She fought Brittany Elkin, who was on a losing streak at the time, and I believe that fight made it to the 3rd round. And Claressa Shields was a massive favorite in that fight, man, by the fans anyway. Not so much by the odds, but I mean, -300 is still massive in my eyes. But this fight is interesting. I did a little bit of research on Abigail Montes. I know that Claressa Shields said in an interview that Abigail Montes is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. Personally, I tried to Google Abigail Montes Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Abigail Montes brown belt. I couldn't really find anything apart from that interview. I even looked at Abigail Montes' Instagram to find a photo of her wearing a brown belt or something like that, and unfortunately I could not find anything. But the lady that Claressa last fought, Brittany Elkin, was also a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu. So we'll see how this fight goes. Claressa Shields got the height and not the reach advantage, but she's got the height advantage. This is a woman's lightweight fight at 155. Claressa Shields, she's trying to build up a big name. Apparently she had UFC offers, but she decided to go to the PFL because the PFL would build up her MMA career a bit better, which I think is fair. I mean, I don't think that the UFC would throw Claressa Shields in the deep end, but I think that they would probably put a little bit more pressure on her than the PFL are. I mean, they gave her an opponent with a losing record to start off her MMA career, which I think is fair. You know, it's obviously a bit more than just boxing. You know, you got your wrestling and your jiu-jitsu. Now she's fighting a 2-A girl, Abigail Montes, only 21 years old. So we'll see how this fight goes, man. I mean, Claressa Shields, she could get a knockout, but Montes, she could get a decision or a submission as well. We'll have to see how this fight goes. I mean, I definitely need to really look into Abigail Montes' ground game, because if it is a brown belt and she's a legitimate brown belt, then maybe we could see an upset. I'm pretty sure Claressa Shields is a pretty big betting favorite at the moment, but we'll see what happens. And speaking of guys on win streaks, man, Ray Cooper III versus Magomedkerimov, coming off a decision win over Sadibou Sy. Sadibou Sy, man, he pretty well-known guy for his kickboxing. He was a lot taller than Magomed from memory, and he was a lot longer as well. And Sadibou Sy actually always possessed a KO hazard to Magomed here, and he actually ended up winning. Magomed, yeah, so he had a big reach and height advantage. I was right about that little memory there. Coming off a submission Ezekiel choke over Curtis Melenda, and before that a few more wins in the PFL. Ray Cooper III coming off that massive unanimous decision win over Rory McDonald. He was an underdog in that fight. He made me a lot of money. But he's going to be a lot smaller than Magomed in this fight. Magomed was fighting a taller guy. Now he's fighting a much shorter guy in Ray Cooper III. But Ray Cooper III did show some pretty good wrestling against Rory McDonald. That is how he won the unanimous decision, was control time, just using his wrestling. And prior to that, man, a couple of wins by KO, but he's got the submission win and a decision win and another decision win in his record. But Ray Cooper III, probably well known for his knockout ability. He's only 28 years old, lots of experience. He's 23-7 now, which is pretty crazy. He's got a 1-minute 23 KO there. A few more round 1 finishes. I think this 18-second round 1 finish is the fastest welterweight PFL finish, or maybe the fastest PFL finish in history. I could be wrong. But yeah, I've got Magomedkerimov as well. Ray Cooper III, could he use his hands? Could he find the chin of Magomed here? Maybe. Could he maybe use his wrestling against Magomed? Oh, I really don't know about that one. But yeah, man, we could see another 25-minute fight. I mean, it's so crazy. There's so many 25-minute fights on one card. But yeah, man, I think I'm gonna have to side with Magomed on this one. But I mean, Ray Cooper III, he made me some money as an underdog in the last one. So we'll see what happens there. So the next fight, man, Kayla Harrison, who really needs to sign for the UFC, and Taylor Guardado. And what I mean by Kayla Harrison really needs to sign for the UFC, I mean, she just really needs to sign for the UFC, man. I think she's like a former multiple time judo gold medalist, not just once or I think she's done it twice, maybe 3 times. I should probably look at this. Wikipedia is always my go-to source for finding this sort of stuff out. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, so what I've got in the Olympics is, you can see it here, gold medal in 2012 and a gold medal in 2016, former world judo champion. So yeah, very, very big judo experience there. Taylor Guardado, on the other hand, not very experienced. I thought Mariana Moraes was actually going to beat her, and I was pretty confident that she was going to beat her, but she won the split decision over Mariana Moraes there in a very close fight. I think Taylor Guardado probably did win it though, but I've got to rewatch the fight to give my opinion. But who has she beaten, man? Not really anyone that good. She beat her 2-0 girl when she was 1-0, which I guess is a pretty good win. And split decision win over Serena DeJeus. Sorry, when she was 0-0, she lost. I don't know, man. I'm confused. Kayla Harrison is 11-0. She just destroyed Gina Fabian, who is from New Zealand, which kind of sucks. The fight lasted for a bit longer than it probably needed to, but yeah, man. I know that Kayla Harrison has really been talking about signing from another organization that is not the PFL, and she wants to move on, and I hope that she can move on to the UFC. I know that she fights at lightweight, I know that she fights at 155, but could she make 145? I mean, probably. She might have to cut a little bit of weight, or maybe just lose some of her muscle mass, because Kayla Harrison is built like a tank. Like Kayla Harrison is just built different, man. But yeah, she started her MMA career in 2018 and started in the PFL, so she's kind of stuck with them the whole way through. She's a former PFL champion as well. She's looked kind of unstoppable. She beat Mariana Moraes in the first round. She beat Cindy Dandois in the first round. Then she beat Gina Fabian, who is from New Zealand, and she's actually pretty much a legitimate lightweight. She is a 6 foot 74 inch reach girl, and she has the KO win over Julia Pajic, decision win over Laura Sanchez as well. But she's kind of building up her own name in the PFL, coming out of New Zealand, coming out of City Kickboxing, I believe. And yeah, that gets me the point. Kayla Harrison, by however she wants, whenever she wants, but probably by KO, TKO in the first round. No disrespect to Taylor Guardado, she's done really well to get this far, but I think Kayla Harrison's just on another level to all of the women's lightweights in the PFL. I don't think that the fight is going to be too close. I think she's like a minus 2,500 favorite. Yeah, man, Kayla Harrison's going to win this fight, probably however she wants. I don't see the fight going the whole 25 minutes. Kayla Harrison will not let this fight go 25 minutes. I think TKO in the first round for Kayla Harrison is my pick. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little preview. This is a sick poster, by the way. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.